to the board with any further new developments. But again, given that we do not have the same capacities of accessing grant funds, and as this policy stated, if we were ever to have a senior level of government, such as a regional district, sponsor an application, we would then have to hand over those assets to them. So if we can find a better way to do this, I'm certainly all ears.
So at this point, we simply need to file for information. The next item of business that you have in your package is a letter that we received from John Whitman.
Excuse me, do you have any extra packages so that us at the back can see them?
No, this is the board package. It will show up with when the minutes get published.
Okay.
Okay.
You look more interested.
Okay. So the letter from Mr. Whitman says that he strongly urges the board to call an emergency meeting to revisit the decision not to extend the infrastructure agreement with Kensington. So given everything that's happened today and this evening, we'll take that under advisement and make our decision. Thank you, Jones. The next order of business is the reports. So the first report we have is from our administrator, Kevin. Oh. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. So I have a few notices to pass along this month. Effective 12 noon on Thursday, June the 10th, all Category 2 and 3 open fires were prohibited throughout the Coastal Fire Centre region. This ban will likely remain in place until October 16th or until the public is otherwise notified. Specifically, this prohibition applies to the burning of any material piled or unpiled smaller than 2 meters in height and 3 meters in width. The burning of stubble or grass fires over an area less than 2,000 square meters. The use of fireworks, firecrackers, sky lanterns, burning barrels, or burning cages of any size or description. And the use of what they describe as binary exploding targets, which are such as rifle target practice. This order does not prohibit campfires that are a ½ meter high by a ½ meter wide or smaller, and does not apply to cooking stoves that use gas, propane, or briquettes. According to the BC Wildfires website, anyone found in contravention of an open burning prohibition may be issued a ticket for $345 by the Wildfire Management Branch, be required to pay an administrative penalty of $10,000, or if convicted in court, fined up to $100,000 and or sentenced to 1 year in jail. If the contravention causes or contributes to a wildfire, the person responsible may be ordered to pay all firefighting and associated costs. For more information, I urge everyone to check out the BC Wildfire Management website at www.bcwildfire.ca, or you can call them toll-free at 1-888-3FOREST, which is 1-888-336-7378. And if anybody needs those numbers, I can provide them to them after. The next bi-monthly water meter readings will be taking place on Thursday, July the 2nd and Friday, July the 3rd. Please be reminded it is the responsibility of every home and business owner in Union Bay to keep their meters visible and accessible at all times. Do not bury the meter box with bark mulch, dirt, yard waste, etc. And if the box is located within or alongside a driveway, please ensure vehicles are not parked over top the meter. Anytime we run into those kinds of situations, we either have to estimate the bill, and we can only do that on one consecutive occasion. Otherwise, we have to take steps to either get a vehicle or yard waste removed or charge the landowner for that. And lastly, at our next month's board meeting, I will be presenting the semi-annual fund balances report, which provides a breakdown of the funds to date sitting in our operational and capital reserve funds, as well as in our operational bank accounts. This report also includes an update on our water toll and parcel tax receivables. And that concludes my report for June.
Thank you. Are there any questions about Kevin's report? No? Okay. Can I have a motion to accept his report for information? Anne, seconder Alan. Okay. All in favor? Carried. The next report is the Finance and Capital Planning Report. Bruce?
June 17, 2015, Finance Committee report. The Finance Committee met with the Administrator on June 12, 2015 and reviewed the financial report on May 31st, 15. Our revenue is within expectations at this time. However, with the drier months ahead, water toll revenue should exceed our expectations by year end. We encourage landowners to pay their water toll and parcel tax invoices by the due date to avoid financial penalties. We also expect to receive the balance of our property tax revenue for firefighting services this month. The amount is $352,660. Expenses were in line with nothing exceptional to report. All committee members are encouraged to attend UBID's planning session at a date yet to be determined this summer. This is their best opportunity to participate in UBID's business plan for the following year.
Are there any questions for Bruce? Can I have a motion to accept the financial report for information? Marie? Anne? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. The next one is the Fire Services report from Marie.
The Fire Committee met Tuesday, June 9th, and the Fire Chief's report for April. The department responded to 4 incidents in April. There are 2 first responder calls, 1 motor vehicle incident, and 1 illegal burning complaint. The total time worked was 148 minutes, and the total number of responders was 14. Average number of responders was 3. Average time on call was 32 minutes. In May, the department responded to 11 incidents. There were 7 first responder calls, 2 motor vehicle incidents, and 1 illegal burning and 1 grass fire. Total time worked was 377 minutes. The total number of responders was 51. Average number of responders was 5. Average time on call was 34 minutes. And there's lots of training going on, and it's proceeding very well. So Kevin has almost secured our qualified donee status from the Canada Revenue Agency so that UBID will be able to offer tax receipts for any donations received toward the new fire hall. Darcy Rainey reported the firefighters decided they wanted to collect and hold the donations in their account. But Kevin pointed out that UBID would not be able to issue a tax receipt in that case. So I believe the donations will have to be accepted by UBID and held in the capital reserve account for the purpose of building the new fire hall. Susan Hargraves provided the minutes of their monthly meeting, which I've attached. Darcy spoke to them and gave an update on the 80th celebration. They're looking for donations of items to be auctioned to help raise funds for the new fire hall. I'd like to remind everyone that the 80th anniversary celebration of the Union Bay Fire Rescue Service will be held at the Community Hall on Saturday, October 3rd. Anne provided her report on the first meeting of the new fire hall project working group. I hope in future we can use our website to promote this team and their progress on the project. And Kevin and Ian Ham will be attending a special educational program in Parksville in September titled Working Together, Effective Fire Service Administration for Fire Chiefs and Local Government Chief Administrative Officers. This seminar is being offered by the Local Government Management Association of BC, the Fire Chiefs Association of BC, and the Office of the Fire Commissioner. Information has also been attached for your review. The next meeting date of the Fire Committee is Tuesday, August 11th at 4 p.m. Thank you.
Thanks, Marie. Are there any questions for Marie? Okay, can I have a motion to accept the Fire Committee report? Alan, seconder. Bruce, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. The next report is a new report. It's a working group that's looking at the new fire hall project. So I'll call on Ann to give that report.
The inaugural meeting of the group was held on May the 20th. The group consists of 2 members of the community, Dean Hills and Tom Clerk, the fire chief Mark Jackson, 2 firefighters, Ian Ham and Kevin McGregor, plus Kevin Duville, our administrator, and of course myself as chair. As we are a working group and not a committee, our meetings are not open to the public, but we do the reporting to the Fire Rescue Committee, so those ones are open to the public. It's our job to advise and recommend appropriate courses of action to the Fire Rescue Committee, who will then make recommendations to the board from our group. We will review project proposals from consultants and contractors. It's also our job to review project budgets and capital costs and look at any grants that may be available to us. We have a 5-year plan culminating with the grand opening of a fire hall complex in 2020. Our 2 main goals this year are to finalize the property for the new fire hall and engage with the community in communicating information with regard to the new fire hall. We plan to begin the communication process at the fire department's 80th anniversary celebration on October 3rd. Our next meeting will be held on June the 24th. And that concludes my report.
Thanks, Ann. Any questions for Ann about the fire hall project working group? Can I have a motion to accept her report for information? Marie, seconder. Bruce, all in favor? Carried. And the final report is our Public Works report, so I'll call on Alan Webb.
Public Works Committee didn't meet this month, so I'm able to give you the Superintendent's report. There's now no water entering the lake, and levels are dropping the same as last year, about 0.5 centimeters a day. This will pick up to 1 centimeter a day in the summer, with the evaporation at its highest. The dam tows are trickling and providing some water to the creek. The leak from under the spillway is the same and will be monitored for a rate flow the same as last year. I expect the water level will be down 30 centimeters from the spillway at the mid-July, and that's where we were at the end of summer 2014, around August 15th. The lake dropped a total of 60 centimeters by October 8th, 2014. I would like to recommend not to enter stage 2 water restrictions until we at least reach the 60 centimeter mark. The water is getting more colored, however the turbidity is very good, sitting around 0.5 NTUs. The chlorine residuals are fine at the end at 0.15. Flushing is key to keeping the water quality good at its best. The system was completely flushed on May 26 and 27, and very good results were achieved. The south end was a little dirtier this time, but still around the same as previous year's flushings. And in terms of the water stats, we've got 0.5 NTUs on the inside, going out, 0.6 NTUs, chlorine level at 1.8, tank level 20 centimeters from full, the tank temperature is 10.4, and the water consumption is around 950 cubic meters a day. And that's Dan's report. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Alan? Okay. We don't need to make a decision about Dan's recommendation to avoid stage 3 or 2?
Yeah, I can certainly speak to that. So the lake level gauge that we have out at Langley Lake, the overflow level is 14.8 feet. So a 30 centimeter drop is roughly a foot, which means by mid-July we should be sitting at around 13, just over 13 and a half feet. Under our current water conservation bylaw, we are not required to implement stage 2 until it hits 12 feet. So we still have some wiggle room. We do continue to monitor it daily, however, and if anything substantially changes, we'll obviously be reporting that back to both the Public Works Committee and to the board.
Okay, so can I have a motion then to accept Alan's report for information? Anne, seconder. Marie, all in favor? Thank you. Okay, that brings us to new business. All new trustees are required at the beginning of their term to take an oath of office. And as Alan was the trustee that was elected by acclaim at the last AGM, he's the one that has to do it. So, Alan, I'll get you to read out your oath.
I faithfully and honestly and impartially, to the best of my knowledge and ability, execute the powers, duties and functions of my office. As a trustee and by virtue of my office, I understand that I have been entrusted with confidential information concerning the affairs of the Improvement District. I also understand that I am obligated to maintain such information in confidence and not to use it for personal gain or advantage. I accept that as a trustee I am obligated to duties of good faith, loyalty and honesty to the Improvement District, and I am obligated to act in the best interests of the Improvement Districts at all times. I have read and agreed to comply with all the Improvement District bylaws, policies and directives. Alan Webb.
Thank you. We'll move on to the next item, which is appointment of standing committees and working groups. We have a process where we allow up to 4 community people to be appointed to all of our standing committees, and those are for a 1-year term. So at the beginning of each new term, we need to appoint those people that have agreed to participate. So first of all, I'll call upon Bruce to make his nominations for the Finance and Capital Planning Committee.
I have 2 previous members on my finance committee from last year that are prepared to stand again this year, and that is June Gaynor and Jim Elliott. And there's room on this committee for 2 additional people. If anybody's interested in sitting on a finance committee, please give me a call. My number is from Kevin, or it's on the website, and let me know if anybody's interested in sitting on this committee.
Okay, so are you going to make a motion to appoint them?
Make a motion to accept June Gaynor and Jim Elliott to sit on the finance committee for 2015.
Can I have a seconder? Anne, are there any questions or comments? Okay. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, the Fire Rescue Committee, Marie.
I have 4 nominations, Mike Robson, John Whitman, Bob L., and Eugene Hershawi. I'd like to make a motion to nominate.
Can we have a seconder? Bruce? Are there any comments or questions? Okay. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And the Fire Hall Working Group were already appointed for a 2-year term, so we don't have to do that right now. Public Works, Alan.
That will be Bill Ellis, Tom Dorinsky, and Bill Alcock at this stage, and anybody else who would like to join. So I'd make a motion for these people and any others who feel they're suitable.
Okay. So you're making a motion
Yes.
to appoint them. Okay. Seconder? Anne? Any comments or questions? Okay. All in favor? Carried. Okay. The next item of business is you have a package from our administrator. It's for an appeal by a landowner appealing a water leak. Kevin, would you like to talk to this briefly?
Okay, so this is in regards to a landowner that encountered a leak back in January of this year. And the result was that it actually ran over 2 subsequent bills, so partly in January's bill, partly in March's bill, and it resulted in a sizable water toll bill, certainly on the March bill. So in speaking to the landowner, I discussed with her the obligations of each and every landowner in the community. And maybe before I get to that, I'll just give people a sense of what the typical process is. So, I mean, we are a small administration, 1.5 staff. We process 660 water toll bills every 2 months. When the public works staff read those bills, and those are just basically a wand, so our public works staff don't actually see the reads. Those come into our office, they're downloaded into a computer system, and they're generated through our billing system. We make every effort to catch any extraordinarily looking bills. Again, 660 accounts, we can't possibly catch everything. But if we do notice something is really kind of out of whack, we will certainly make every effort we can to contact the landowner and to notify them of the situation. However, it is ultimately each and every landowner's responsibilities to make sure their water infrastructure on their own property is properly maintained in order to minimize leaks. However, we recognize leaks do happen, which is why we offer the leak allowance policy. And we do have a number of landowners every year that do take advantage of that opportunity. And we will then, look at providing some kind of reimbursement back on that bill based on a calculation or formula that we utilize. In this case, unfortunately, a previous water leak allowance had been provided in the last 5 years, which unfortunately made this particular landowner ineligible at this time. Again, in this particular situation, the January bill was slightly high, but nothing really out of norm compared to a lot of other water bills. It was the March bill that was exceedingly high. So at this point, I certainly communicated with the landowner. I also provided her an opportunity to appeal the board if she was not satisfied with the outcomes of that process, and that's the prerogative she has now undertaken in this case.
So the board has before them correspondence, bills, receipts, checks, a number of documents. At this point, we need to make a motion either to accept some kind of forgiveness or adjustment on this second leak, or to deny any kind of relief on this. So, discussion.
I would like to see some sort of relief on it. I know it's the responsibility of the landowner, but I feel
Can't hear you.
I would like to see some sort of relief given to the landowner. It's unfortunate, such the circumstances. On the original leak, the plumbing repair job was not adequately undertaken. And it's under the house. You don't even know it's leaking. If it's leaking in your basement, you'd know soon enough. I know it sets precedents, but maybe there's some way we can, quote, help out. There's a lot of water there. There's $1,000 worth of water.
Oh my,
It escaped in about 7 days.
that's ridiculous.
Other comments?
So the leak occurred between the 5th and the 15th of January, you think?
It actually happened in December. The initial leak happened in December, but the December bill stimulated the landowner to get and fix it. But in the meantime, $1,000 worth of water, because of the delays in getting the bill, $1,000 worth of water had gone into the soil.
But you said here, unfortunately, $1,071 worth of water had run away from the 5 January to the 15th of January.
That's the second part of the leak.
Second part, okay. So when did we read it? When did we read the meter?
The fifth.
So we read the, and then boom, the leak happened.
And the bill did not get to the landowner until the 15th. Then she called the plumber immediately.
And how do you know when the bills are big? When do you get the readings, and then what happens?
we have to scan every single read as it comes through. It's just the nature of this program. And so if a dollar amount seems significantly out of whack, I will go back and check the consumption history for that account. Sometimes it's perfectly normal, sometimes it's not. And then, like I say, in this particular case, the bill in January was modestly high. It's the bill in March that, obviously by that time, the water will escape over that next couple months.
Okay, so there was a lag between the time.
And when was the first leak allowance?
Yeah,
2013, okay.
So my understanding of this is that that the plumber had done a bad job. Is that right?
I think so. It was the same area that was repaired the second time round. And it was a different plumber that came and repaired it the second time.
The second time, and it
They
was
couldn't
okay.
get the original plumber back to the house.
Yeah, yeah. So I would say to that landowner that maybe they should go after the plumber to get, that was quite a bit for part of it. And yeah, so no, it's something that I would do if it was my property.
No,
I would
you
go after them.
wouldn't.
So yeah, we're talking about whether we're going to forgive some money on this. I don't know. Do we make? Is that what you're thinking of? Maybe $500 or something like that, or what are we talking?
You're pretty quick to judge me.
I would be grateful for anything. But you have, in addition to this, you have to repair those as well.
Well, I feel badly, but part of me doesn't really want to set a precedent for other people either. So I don't know what the answer is.
The only thing that I'd like to say is that I think this will be a precedent, and if we're going to do this, then I think we have to be very clear under what kind of situations this would happen, because we had a similar request for from a landowner to forgive, and it was presented as a hardship case, and we said no. So I think we have to be very clear so that it's fair for everybody every single time.
Do all communities have a legal allowance, Kevin?
No.
No.
So this is a real benefit to the community here, a legal allowance.
A number of improvement districts and water districts do, but not everyone, and certainly not every municipality. I don't believe, probably, but I don't think Oregon has any such policy.
So if they have a legal application.
Yeah. I know someone in Royston who recently replaced over 200 feet of pipe because they have no leak allowance and they couldn't find the leak.
I'm afraid of setting precedent. What Carol said, we recently denied a claim, and I don't think we can do it sporadically. We have to make a decision in regard or not. And maybe we should do away with the legal allowance altogether. That might be a consideration. Then no confusion.
So are there any more comments? Okay. Would somebody like to make a motion one way or the other? We've been asked to adjudicate on this, so somebody wants to make a motion? Bruce. Is there a seconder? Okay, we have a seconder, Anne. Okay, any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? 2. Okay, so I get to make the decision. I think I'm going to deny it. I think it's an issue of fairness. So the motion is carried, and unfortunately the request is denied. Okay. Shall we carry on with the rest of the business? The regular board meeting, just a reminder.
Can't hear you.
The next meeting is on July the 15th at 4:30. We need to have a discussion about the date for the annual general meeting in April, primarily because I'm going to be away for 2 Saturdays in April. So you can have the meeting without me. Or the options are the very first Saturday in April, which I think is what, the 9th? Or the last Saturday, which is the 30th. And we must have it